The Land Beyond the Wall, An Immigration Story by Veronica Martinova Charles. On the front cover I see a little girl. I'm assuming she's a little girl, although I could be very wrong. She's wearing a purple dress and her hair is in braids. She's looking at the background, which is an island with a lighthouse on it. And then even further is a large kind of brick wall that goes across the width of the book. Behind the wall is a gray, bleak land. Not very green. Some of the buildings are pretty bare and plain. And then there's some trace of trees, I'm assuming, but not too much overall. Doesn't look like a very appealing place to be. Another thing I'm noticing is these sails. I'm not too sure how those would help move a sailboat in the wind, but who knows. And then on the back is a different illustration. The same little girl, now she's holding a little doll, which we didn't see in the front. And then once again that same lighthouse on the island, the moon behind. Based off of the illustration on the front cover, she's in a different position now. So looking at this photo, she's somewhere over here and she's looking at the lighthouse. So perhaps she's either leaving or arriving to the wall. There's another illustration. Once again, same little girl. Now she's in a garden, it looks like, and she's drawing her surroundings. She's drawing some pink and green flowers and leaves. She's sitting at the base of a tree, and above her, perched on a branch, are two little birds looking down at her, almost as if they're peeking overhead to see what she's drawing. Once the world was divided by a big wall. On one side, the sun rarely shone. Fields lay bare, towns and villages were gray, and shops were empty. People spoke in whispers because they were afraid of each other. They could not even trust their friends. Nobody was allowed outside the wall. This was where Emma lived. And there we see that divide. On the left, all happy, bright colors. The kids look like they're dancing and frolicking in the grass. Birds are flying up ahead. On the right, there's a tree, but it has no leaves. There's a couple people. They look a little bit older. They're hunched over. So that kind of tells us something about some emotions. They don't look very happy. Everything looks pretty lifeless in this photo. All gray. The part in the text where it says people spoke in whispers because they were afraid of each other, that reminds me of a book, one of my favorite books that I've read by George Orwell called 1984. People lived in kind of similar conditions as these that we see on the right, and similarly they kind of had to speak in whispers and in code because there was such thing as thought police, and these thought police were kind of a higher power that were controlling the general public or population. And the reason for thought police was that it was meant to persecute individualism and as well persecute independent thinking, so there was always someone watching, and you could never trust who you spoke to and what you told to anyone. So that's kind of a major connection that I'm getting from this. But one day, when Emma came home from school, she found her parents in the garden. They were listening to the crackling voices from the other side of the wall. "Don't tell anyone about this," they warned Emma. "Listening to the voices from the outside is forbidden. We could be punished if someone told on us," they said. They didn't notice that the window was open. They didn't know their neighbor was listening, and went to tell on them. So there they are in the garden. Not a very nice garden. There's no grass. If there were any flowers, they're dead now. And the tree has no leaves, no little birdies, nothing. So I'm guessing that this garden is probably a different one than the garden that we saw her sitting at in the paratext when she was drawing. And then we see the vibrant colors peeking through from the other side of the wall. I'm kind of wondering why it's forbidden, though, to listen to the voices on the other side. And why that act is a punishable one, but I guess I have to read ahead to see. And then there we see the neighbor. He's spying on them through the window, through the curtain. And then there he is going to the police station to tell on them. When Emma came home the next day, her parents were not there. Instead, two men waiting inside. I'm gonna reread that. When Emma came home the next day, her parents were not there. Instead, two men were waiting inside. "Your parents will not be coming back," the men told Emma. "We're sending you to live with your aunt." So Emma came to live with her aunt in a small town by the sea. Just like the land withered from lack of sunshine, Aunt Lily was broken by the life she led. Her heart had shriveled and become numb. To her, Emma was just an extra mouth to feed. "You must earn your keep," she told Emma, and she gave her chores to do in the house and yard. All day long, Emma worked hard to please her, but still her aunt barely spoke to her. Emma was lonely and missed her parents. And there's Emma earning her keep, peeling potatoes. My grandma used to make me do that when I would go visit her. Oh, there's the same garden, I guess, that we saw in the paratext. Same illustration altogether. She's sitting there drawing with the birds. One day, when her chores were finished, Emma found a pencil and paper and took them outside to draw. She felt comforted, almost happy, as the pencil glided over the paper and the shapes of trees and plants began to appear. Yes, she was alone, but when she drew, she wasn't lonely anymore. "When I grow up," she dreamed, "I want to be an artist. Then I will paint the sky blue and flowers in all colors of the rainbow." That's nice. When I was young, I wanted to be an artist. I actually still wish I could be an artist, but it wasn't long before Aunt Lily caught Emma drawing. "Put that down, stop wasting your time, and do something useful," she scolded. "But I want to be an artist. I have to practice so that I can go to art school," Emma replied. "Don't even think about it," Aunt Lily said. "No school will take you after what your parents did. Now go and sweep up the floor in the attic. If I catch you drawing again, you'll go to sleep without supper." What exactly was it that her parents did? I'm confused. They were just listening. I didn't do anything bad, but maybe I'll find out. Emma swept as her tears fell to the attic floor. Suddenly her eyes caught something in the corner. It was an old doll. She picked her up. "I'm so unhappy," Emma told the doll. "I want to be an artist, but I'm not allowed to draw, and I'm lonely. I have no friends to talk to." The doll stared back. "You can talk to me," she said. Emma was amazed. "You can speak?" She asked. I used to belong to your mother, said the doll. I can keep you company. Emma hugged the doll close. I would like that, she said. From then on, the doll was her constant companion. I'm going to make an inference here that the doll isn't actually talking, but it's more so the childhood experience that many children have when they grow attached to some sort of stuffed animal or doll or anything like that. I know that I've had a few that were my constant companions that I would sleep with and at my younger ages would talk to, and they would be my friends. So, but who knows, maybe the doll is actually a magic doll. Maybe this is her mom talking to her through this doll in some sort of way. I'm not sure. One morning at dawn, Emma looked through the window. A big sailboat was gliding into the harbor. It was not like any Emma had ever seen. Its wood was the color of honey, and its sails were fine like wisps of clouds. I wonder where the boat is coming from, Emma said to her doll. You should go and find out, came the doll's answer. So while Aunt Lily slept, Emma tucked the doll into her pocket and snuck down to the harbor. The captain of the boat wore different clothes than the townspeople. Good morning, Emma said to him. Where are you coming from? I've sailed from the other side of the ocean, the captain replied. I'm making a stop here and then going back. What is it like on the other side? Emma asked. There is a land where dreams come true. Could I become an artist in that land? Emma wanted to know. People there are free to be whatever they want, the captain said. Please, can you take me with you, said Emma. My dear child, the captain replied, I can take you, but you will lose your voice on the other side. That's the price you will have to pay. Will I ever speak again? Emma asked. The captain smiled. That depends on you, he said, but you should know something else. If you leave, you can never come back here. Emma squeezed the doll in her pocket, wondering what she should do. Go and take the chance, the doll whispered. I will come along with you, Emma told the captain, her heart pounding. Emma climbed aboard. She watched the sails fill with wind and felt the boat move. The shore grew distant until it became just a sliver on the horizon. Then there was just the sea and the sky. What if I've made a mistake? What if I never speak again? Emma worried. She caressed the doll and held her tight. Have faith in yourself, a voice told her. Help comes to those who dare. I wonder if that's the same voice as the doll, or if that is a different voice. Night fell, and the wind picked up. A storm was brewing. The boat tossed around as waves crashed against it and poured over its deck. Emma helped the captain bail water out of the boat. She was drenched, frightened, and seasick. Only after the storm blew away was Emma able to rest. Something that I've just realized, a connection that I've made, is that my youngest sister's name is Emma. Although her name is only E-M-A, no double M. And now that I'm thinking about it, the part in the text where the captain says, you will never be able to speak again, although I'm unsure of what exactly he means by that, my youngest sister hasn't started speaking yet. And it's not because she moved somewhere or because she's too young, but because of a rare disability that she has, so her development is delayed. So my little sister Emma is 5 years old. almost turning 6 and she hasn't started talking yet, but she does make little monkey sounds because, like this Emma, she has her favorite little doll, and it's a Curious George monkey that she talks to. Well, talks in monkey too. Oh, there's the front cover. Days stretched into weeks, and weeks stretched into months. Emma began to wonder if they would ever arrive. Finally, one day, she saw a lighthouse on the horizon. This must be the land on the other side of the ocean, she thought. It will be my new home. Oops, I read that wrong. I'll go back. Finally, one day, she saw a lighthouse on the horizon. This must be the land on the other side of the ocean, she thought. This will be my new home. When Emma stepped onto dry land, it was cold, and she shivered in her light summer dress. People came out of a big wooden building to take her inside. Don't be afraid, the captain called. You will have to stay in this place for a while, but you're safe. I'll come to see you in a few days. Emma was taken inside the building and led upstairs through a maze of corridors and halls to a large room filled with metal beds. A few other gray people wandered through the halls. They, too, seemed to have lost their voices. Those must be people like me, thought Emma. They must have come from the land beyond the wall. I wonder where she is. Alone that night, and feeling lost in a large room, Emma was hungry and scared. What have I done? She cried. I'm here, came the doll's voice. I won't leave you. Look out the window across the hall. It will keep your spirits up. Through the window, Emma saw the ocean. A white lighthouse with its warm light was flickering in the night. In a few days, the captain returned with a kind-looking woman. This lady will help you, he told Emma. She knows you can't speak. I wish you good luck. Those were the last words Emma understood. The lady took Emma's hand, and they left the building. As they walked through the city, Emma saw a strange new world full of colors and things she had never seen before. Some cool-looking cars. Everything is colorful, vibrant. There's some shops, but I'm not really sure what the shops are because the letters are kind of scribbled and in a different language that I'm unable to understand. Although, just based off of my prior knowledge, looking at these, I'm going to assume that the author and illustrator did this on purpose so that it would match no language, so that whoever the reader was, they wouldn't be able to translate what that was. I think that's trying to send a message. They stopped along the way, and the lady picked up some warm clothes for Emma to wear. Then she brought her to a house where there were other girls, too. In the evening, Emma was fed dinner and given a soft bed to sleep in. There we see that scribble again, I guess. Around her, the other girls talked to each other, but the sounds had no meaning to Emma. How will I ever feel at home if I can't understand anyone? She wondered. Be patient, the doll told her. You still have your eyes. Observe everything around you and speak with your drawings. Listen and watch. In time, you will begin to understand. So there's little Emma sitting in the corner. She's left out as the other little girls are talking and interacting with one another. She feels sad. The next day, Emma found a shed with gardening tools. For weeks, she took care of the garden near the house. Sometimes, when her work was done, she practiced drawing pictures in the soft earth with a broken stick. Emma didn't think that anyone would notice. One summer morning, when Emma came down for breakfast, there was a box of paint at her place on the table. She looked at the lady, who smiled and nodded. The paint box was a gift. Now Emma could practice to become a real artist. Emma smiled back at the lady, picked up her paints, put her doll in her pocket, and hurried outside. She walked through the city until she came to a big park. That's such a nice gesture of that lady. So she must have been watching as Emma had spent day after day drawing in the dirt. And then she got her own paint set. That's so nice. And she has an easel. I'm so happy for Emma. Now she can communicate through her drawings. Wow, and there she is in a beautiful, lush garden. Flowers of every color bloomed in the garden, and Emma painted them all. Dabs of yellow and orange for the marigolds, pink and red for the roses, purple and mauve for the lupins. I don't know what a lupin is. Then she painted the sky the bluest of blues. So she did talk about that earlier in the book, how one day she'd be an artist and she would paint the sky blue. So that's nice that she's actually able to do that now. A little boy and his mother came by to look at Emma's painting. The boy pointed at the picture and said something. What Emma heard took her breath away. The sounds had meaning. They were words, and Emma understood them. That's a beautiful picture, the boy said. Emma opened her mouth. Here, take it, she heard herself say as she handed the boy the picture. It's yours now. I can make another one. I can understand. I can speak again, Emma realized. Thank you, said the boy. I will keep it forever. He waved as he and his mother walked away. Emma pulled out her doll. Did you hear? She asked. I can speak those sounds. The boy understood me. That changes everything. I'm beginning to feel that this land is my home. But this time, there was no answer. The doll gazed back silently at Emma. Her work was done. Emma kissed the doll's little face. Thank you for being with me when I needed you, she whispered. I will never forget you. It was time to let go. From now on, Emma could take care of herself. She could make it on her own. So maybe the doll's loss, or I guess loss of like speech and language. So now the doll has stopped talking when Emma has started again. So maybe that means that the doll's purpose was to help Emma through a hard time. Maybe this also indicates that Emma's grown up a little bit, or that she's evolved into something different and new. When Emma was back in her room, she wrapped the little doll carefully in paper and laid her gently in a shoebox. Perhaps she would keep it for her own children. Then she sat down and wrote a letter. Dear Aunt Lily, I hope you're doing well. I want to tell you that I am following your advice. I am being useful. Today I made a little boy happy with my drawing. Yours truly, Emma. So, text type. It's a letter. Emma continued to draw. One day, she did indeed become an artist. Now she spends her time in a world of color, painting pictures and writing stories for children's books. It makes the children happy, and it makes her happy too. So there's Emma all grown up in her office, and she's drawing. She's got her paint supplies, her paints, and there's a cat sitting there watching her. There's another bird too through the window. Maybe that bird is watching her. All the animals really like to watch Emma draw. And the end. So, what I'm going to guess from this is that the author, Veronica Martinova Charles, wrote this book about herself, because I'd say that they look pretty similar, and that Emma was her as a child. In the afterword, it says a little bit of information about Veronica, and it talks about after the Second World War, her departure from Czechoslovakia and coming to Newfoundland, so immigrating to Canada. So I think this was kind of a true story in a sense. It was about her own experience. That's really nice. And the end.